Hello, this is Eugene from Seoul, Korea. I'm going to introduce very famous type. It's a very short version and it's called the drop cut. As in terms of drop, that means the fringe of the hair drops down on the forehead, so it's called the drop cut. These days, Korean style is kind of extreme. One is the dandy cut that I introduced before, long version, or it's a very short version that is famous for now. So it's kind of the trend that is not in the middle. It's quite extreme from long to short. So today I'm going to introduce very short version of Korean hairstyle. Now I'm going to set the guide for the side first. It depends on how short you are willing to go for. 뜬다. As you know, everyone has very different type of texture. So even the length, you have to set up the length considering the texture of the hair. I'm going to use the clipper later. Because if you cut the long hair to the short using the clipper in the beginning, the clipper will not work efficiently, so you need to have some sort of length to use the clipper. It's my personal technique that I'm more into it, because normally people put the layer on the top area a lot to create the volume, but for me, it's my personal opinion to have more like a graduation at the back area that creates kind of it's not about the layer technique, it's more about the shape of the hair. So that if you have some sort of graduation at the back area, it's creating the volume by creating the shape of, you know, the waterfall. That's how I think it's more appropriate in some sense. So I try to avoid the top area too much like scale layer, because I think it's kind of creating disconnection on the top and the nape area. But it's just my personal opinion. I'm cutting the length quite roughly because I'm going to create the shape by using the clipper, so it's just chopping up the length to cut the hair easily later on. As you can see, when you're doing the scissor over comb, you have to use the comb and the scissors together without stopping. It's the main theme of using that technique. And comb is the guide to create the shape. As you fade out, when you comb it out, it's going to leave more length. But if you keep the comb in it, then you are going to cut a lot more. So this one creates the guide of the cut. You have to bear in mind that. That's the key of scissor over comb technique. And never stop moving two hands together. And as I told you in the last episode, you have to be able to keep the some sort of length on this. You have to keep the length to cover up this area where the hairline gets inside of the head. So that's the guide of the sectioning. When you're using the clipper, it's better to keep the shade of the clipper with the 45 degrees so that it can cut the hair exactly where you want it cut to be. And when you're cutting the outline, you have to use your snap on the ankle. And as you fade it out, you keep the length on the top area. If you keep the clipper into the scalp, it's going to cut all the way up, which is very dangerous. So you have to use the snap so that you can create the angle that you want it. And now connect it with the top area. and it's another my personal technique. To keep the length on the top area more safely, I hold the hair up the top with a comb and use the pressure to keep the length, so that even if you make a mistake, it's not going to cut all the way up if you commit the hair with a press. See? If you don't use it, then you clipper it out, you might be cutting the top area where you don't want to cut. So you keep your comb and press it down and then keep the length and use the clipper. It's a lot safer. When you cut the side, it's better to keep the shape coming backwards and then move forwards to keep the shape. You know, the key point of the short hair is the line. So you have to keep the length here. It's very important. If you cut it short, it's going to make your face look wider. So you have to keep the length to make the shape of the face like sharper. And before using the thinning scissors, it's better to using the pointing technique to make more soft movements and remove unnecessary weight. I mean, I like using thinning scissors, but if you create more shape with the scissors, just typical scissors, I think it's more natural. If you use just thinning scissors all the way from the beginning to the ends, it's kind of, the hair is like kind of getting floppy and flying out. Now you see more softness here before I cut it. Now I take the diagonal section to connect the top with the side. I'm using the pointing technique because if I use this blunt technique, it's going to create like too solid line, which is not very natural. Now, the most important part of the drop cut is the fringe. You set the line where the line you wanna sit it, maybe just right above the eyebrow, but normally drop cut comes into a very short version. So I kind of prefer to have it on the very middle of the forehead. So you have to bear in mind the drop cut. I'm going to create a volume on the middle area only. So you have to have some sort of length after I create the volume in the middle. Still sits in the middle of the forehead. So you have to have some longer length. So maybe around 2/3 of the forehead, so that even if you lift it up, still have enough length. So you set the guide, maybe around 2/3 of the forehead. And you get the square, you get it square line. It will look silly in the beginning because it's just going to be straight. But you will see the result afterwards. It looks like a middle school kid's hair. The drop cut, in terms I kind of explain as this side area is going to drop down. So that's called the drop cut, and I'm going to lift up the middle. So now I'm going to make the top area shorter and lighter. It was kind of a famous meme where the hair model has this kind of length in the beginning, this kind of style in the beginning, and then they change the styling and then show the difference between before and after. But when you're cutting this area, you have to keep the length on the top area, because if you cut it too much, if you cut it upwards too much, then it will have some kind of a hole here. So you have to be really careful in cutting this area. I'm going to create the graduation because, as you can see, it's quite heavy. So I need to make it lighter. Otherwise, the clients will be very difficult to do styling if you have this kind of heaviness on the front area. Now I'm going to texturize the hair with thinning scissors. It's safe to texturize the hair on the very third of the end of the hair. If you keep thinning scissors too deeply with the short hair, it's going to create unnecessary volume and the hair is going to stick up if you make it too deep. I recommend to texturize a lot more on the front area because these days Korean guys don't create too much volume on the top. Maybe they make it flatter and then create a little volume on the top, front area only. So you don't have to make it too light on the top as well. They even do dampen on the top area here so they can put it down more easily. I'm just retrim the hair to create perfect look. Just refining the detail. The important part of the short hair is you have to remove the dust of the short hair. The best way to cut it is the singling. You have to keep moving the scissors. You have to have very stable pressure on the thumb. This thumb guides the way you cut your hair. As you move forward, the scissors move. You will need to see the hair from top to the bottom, so it's going to be easier for you to see where you cut your hair. As I told you before, short hair, the key is the line of the hair shape. I'm going to style the hair. As it sits down quite beautifully, I think I just need to use the wax to put it down. But for just normal people, unlike me, who wants to control the hair more easily on the side, it's better to do dampen again. If you're interested in it, then I'm going to show you for the next episode. Now, you have to use the heat from top to the bottom so that it can sit down and hold it. Hold it for like 3 seconds. As it cools down, it's going to be more settled. It's better to use kind of weak heat, not too strong. And you hold it for 3 seconds. Now you can see the difference between this area and this area. It's more flat. And do the same on the right hand side. And now it's the opposite way. You use the heat from bottom to the top. It's done. That's the simplicity of the drop cup. As I told you before, normally these days we don't create the volume on the top area too much. You use the hands and the heat, make it rather flat, not creating volume, but use just the heat on the front area. Just make a potting and let it drop. Let it drop. So it's called the drop cut. The last part is just applying the wax. That's it. Nothing dramatic. Easy to maintain and easy to styling. Not much maintenance. Just cut it like every 2-3 weeks. That's all you need. Okay, thanks for watching this video again. And I hope everyone in the world can learn Korean style from this YouTube. And if you have any questions about any styling, just leave a message, then I can create a tutorial for you. And please like and subscribe for us. Thank you.